Hey guys, welcome to Tabletop Warbands! In today's video we play Kill Team with the Adepta Sororitas against the Genestealer cult. I'm Simone and I'll play the sisters.
Hi, I'm Andrea and I will play the cult. Before we start, if you are subscribed to the channel, welcome back. If you are not subscribed yet and want to help us, join our growing community now by clicking on the subscribe button. And don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss the next battle reports. Thank you guys!
Today's mission is Reignite Comms. The two kill teams will have to deploy within these areas. There are 7 points of interest and they are arranged in this way. The operatives will be able to carry out the action transmit on the consoles to score victory points.
We both start with 8 victory points and every action reduces the opponent's points by 1. Each team can only perform the action on each console once, except for the holiday days on which it can be performed twice.
The sisters are investigating the recent uprising of the Xeno cult in the cities around the capital of Hesperia. A Kill Team of Novitiates has identified one of the places where the cult gathers and has descended into the basement to verify the information. However, the cult has prepared a trap for them. The sisters will have to try to get as much information as possible and get out of there to report what they've discovered. The Adepta Sororitas kill team is made up of 10 Novitiate operatives. Leading the team, Novitiate Superior Vasha, armed with plasma pistol and power weapon. The other sisters who are part of the team are a Novitiate Dialogus who takes care of communications and an Exactor to keep order among the ranks, a Penitent with the ability that allows her to fight twice, a Novitiate Hospitaller to take care of the sisters when they are injured, a Pronatus to protect the relics, and a Reliquarius to display their most important symbols. There is the Duelist with good fight skills, then the Purgatus in case you need to warm up the atmosphere, and finally the Novitiate Condemnor with their supply of stakes. As additional equipment, I gave the Autochastier to the Novitiate Superior, the Chaplet Ecclesiasticus to the Pronatus, then I gave the Adamantine-Weave Surplice to the Hospitaller, and finally the Sainted Reliquarius to the Duelist.
The Genestealer cult is gathering information on the Imperium for quite a while now, and it's time to send what they have discovered to the higher-ups. Too bad, a group of the Adepta Sororitas is coming to investigate. Resolve this inconvenience quickly and finish your mission. My key team is formed by 12 operatives. The commander of the team is a neophyte leader, equipped with bolt gun and power pick. Then there are 2 cult agent operatives specialized in melee combat, Locus and Sanctus Talon. Next in line are the 2 heavy gunners, one armed with a heavy stabber and the other with a seismic cannon. Following, we have 2 more gunners, a flamer and a grenade launcher. To keep the morale high, there's an icon bearer equipped with shotgun. And lastly, we have 4 neophyte brood adepts, all equipped with shotgun. As additional equipment, I gave a cool talisman to the leader, the grenade launcher, the flamer, the seismic cannon, and the heavy stabber.
I deployed the sisters divided into the 2 drop zones, trying to give priority to the large room. The superior leads 5 other sisters who are lined up next to the entrances of the room, ready to reach the consoles quickly. In the upper drop zone, however, there are the Penitent, the Exactor, the Reliquarius, and the Purgatus. They will have to take care of the upper sector while waiting for the other sisters to reach them.
Since Simone decided to deploy the majority of his team on the bottom side of the battlefield, I did the same. Both the heavy gunners, the leader, the grenade launcher, the icon bearer, and 2 adepts are on the bottom left corner and are ready to take control of the room on the right. On the top side instead, there are 2 adepts together with Sanctus Talon, Locus, and the Flamer. I think that they can easily take care of the few operatives deployed there.
It's time to do the scouting phase. Each of us chooses a number of dice equal to the corresponding number of the choice. 1 for Fortify, 2 for Infiltrate, and 3 for Recon. Red dice for the sisters and grey dice for the Genestealer cult. The sisters have chosen Infiltrate, while the cult has Fortify, so the initiative will be with the attacker, in this case the Genestealer cult.
I spend 1 command point for the strategic ploy Crossfire. Every time that any of my operatives shoots an enemy and the target survives, that model is marked. The next friendly operative shooting at the same target in the same turn can retain a normal hit as success without rolling the dice. Then I reveal the Taco Prow. If a friendly operative eliminates an enemy and he is within 6 inches of the opponent's drop zone, I gain victory points.
I use Eyes of the Emperor for a command point, removing the range rule from pistols. Then I reveal the Taco Reconsecrate Ground. I have to select an objective that is more than 6 inches from my drop zone. If at the end of the turn I control it, I gain victory points. I choose this one.
Then I place the barrier of the scouting phase here. And now we can start the battle. The first to activate is Wilson, the adept with the glasses. He opens the door and then moves forward behind the consoles. And since the adepts have group activation too, I can activate a second adept. Stuart moves and does the mission action Transmit on the first console.
I need to start opening the entrances to the other rooms, so Vanya opens the door and moves to the left.
Nick, the Icon Bearer, places a demolition charge on the wall next to him and then does his action Signal the Strike, to help his friends shooting actions.
Terry, the Pronatus, moves into the next room and approaches the Hololith. Thanks to her special rule, she can carry out the mission action for free. She then uses the Raise Relic ability, gaining 3 fate points.
Joe activates, opens the door in front of him, and moves reaching the breachable wall on his right, while his friend Sid moves and places a demolition charge on the wall in front of him.
Milena, the Dialogus, gives an additional APL to the Condemnor, then moves towards the open door.
Carl, thanks to his 3 actions, uses movement and dash to reach the console and does the mission action.
Maggie, the Reliquarius, places the explosive charge on the wall and passes her turn.
Diego opens the door, moves towards the center of the room and stops at the console. Then, with his third action, he does the Transmit action.
The Exactor, Olga, whips the Penitent's back to give her an additional APL and an extra circle of movement, then moves to the side to make room.
Alan, the Flamer, changes his order and engage thanks to the ability Cult Ambush and moves behind the barrier, then goes on guard, waiting for some enemies to eliminate.
The Flamer guard makes things really difficult for me, but I can't sit around doing nothing. Then the Penitent detonates the explosive charge.
Well, the wait is already over. Alan shoots Overwatch on both the Penitent and the Exactor thanks to the rule Torrent. Starting with the Penitent, he makes 5 shots at 3+ because of the -1 of the Overwatch. All hit, and thanks to little 5+, that's 1 crit and 4 normal hits.
The Penitent defends at 4+ with 2 dice, as 1 is automatically defended by the cover. 1 die saved, I use 2 fate points to turn a failed dice into a success, defending with all 3 dice. But that's still 4 wounds suffered.
Now the 5 shots at 3+ on the Exactor. Rerolling 1 thanks to Cult Ambush. Nope, 2 normal hits and 2 crits.
This time it's 3 dice at 4+. 2 dice saved, so the Exactor takes 2 critical hits. At the end of the barbecue, the Penitent suffers 4 wounds, as does the Exactor, and both are injured. The Penitent can continue with her activation and decides to take revenge, charging at the Flamer. Thanks to the additional circle of movement, she manages to reach him, and once there, she fights, making 4 attacks at 5+ because she's injured. I need a 6 to take out the Flamer in 1 shot, so thanks to the Penitent's ability, I can reroll all attacks. I can't believe it, not even 1.
Alan's turn to attack. 3 attacks at 4+. Double 6! The Penitent is eliminated. Thanks to this, Alan gains me the first victory point of the Taco route.
How embarrassing. This is terrible. The Penitent has been eliminated, but not all is bad. I reveal the Taco Glory to the Martyrs. The next time one of my models dies within 2 circles of this objective, I earn a victory point.
Vince moves to the door, and with his second action, he activates the charge on the wall near the 2 adepts.
The Flamer Lilibeth moves into the other room, then uses her ability which allows her to do a free dash and then shoot. Once positioned next to the objective, she fires at the Locus, trying to eliminate him. I use a command point for Burning Wrath, which upgrades the Flamer. 5 shots at 2+. I use 2 fate points to turn a failed dice into a normal success, so that's a critical hit and 3 normals, plus 2 Inferno tokens on the Locus thanks to the 6.
Ouch! Saving with 3 dice at 4+. I really don't want him to take too many wounds, so I reroll 1 with a command point. Better. 3 normal saves, 4 wounds through and 2 Inferno token. Manny, my leader, passes his turn.
With movement and dash, the duelist crosses the room and reaches the Hospitaller.
Just like the leader, Butch also passes his turn.
Sister Superior Basha changes the order to conceal, thanks to the scouting action, then opens the door and positions herself next to the consoles, in cover.
And Brick also passes his turn.
The Condemnor with movement and dash reaches the Superior, then once she arrives next to the consoles, she uses the last action given to her by the Dialogus to carry out the mission action on one of the 2 consoles. At the end of the phase, I roll a dice for each Inferno token of the Locus. At 4+, he loses 1 wound from burns. A wound for the Locus.
Locus is down to 4 wounds and injured. In this turn, I was expecting a little more shooting, but we both played really slow, so in the end, we can say that this round was more in my favor. The Flamer did an amazing job eliminating the Penitent and taking the Exactor to 3 wounds only. If I managed to win the initiative in the next turn, I could eliminate the Sister near Locus with no problems at all.
I'm still with a bad taste in my mouth about how it went with the Penitent. I lost a major piece of my kill team because I couldn't roll a single 6 on 8 dice. If I'd managed to eliminate the Flamer at that moment, I could have taken control of the upper sector with ease, but now it's a problem. Next turn I have to move carefully and optimize the sister's actions.
Rolling for initiative.
I need to take the initiative. That's a good dice roll.
4. Unlucky.
Also this turn I use a command point for Eyes of the Emperor to remove the range rule from the pistols. Then I reveal the Tacob Central Control. If I control the center of the kill zone at the end of the turn, I gain a victory point. At the beginning of the phase, I use a command point for Burning Wrath, upgrading the Flamer again. Then Lilibeth opens fire on the Locust to finish the job she started. 5 shots at 2+. All hits!
I don't even need to save. Diego is eliminated.
With the second action, the Flamer charges the enemy Flamer to find out who the better Flamer is.
Stuart activates, changes his order, moves, and then shoots the Condemnor with his shotgun. 4 shots at 3+. Rerolling 1 thanks to Cult Ambush. Nope, 2 normal hits and a crit.
3 dice at 4+ to save for the Condemnor. Not bad! I used 2 fate points to transform the failed dice into a success dice, saving all 3. No problem.
Fine. Sid also activates, changes order, and moves, but he shoots the superior with 4 shots at 3+. Rerolling 2 thanks to Cult Ambush, 3 normal hits and a crit.
Now the superior, 3 dice at 3+. Aha, this time I only saved 1, but I used 2 more fate points to turn another failed dice into a success, so the superior is still alive. Unfortunately, however, she suffers 6 wounds and is left with only 2. Superior Basha doesn't have much chance of surviving this turn, so she changes the order to engage and returns the favor to the Xeno who shot her. Plasma Pistol, 4 shots at 3+. 1 critical hit and 2 normal hits.
That hurts. -1 penetration, so saving with 2 dice at 5+. Nope. Double 1 means that Sid is eliminated from the battlefield.
With her second action available, Vasha takes the mission action on the other console. Thanks to the Superior's ability, I can activate another sister next to her. Then the Condemnor activates and fires on the enemy in front of her. 4 shots at 3+. Oh, that's a nice roll. Congratulations, compliments indeed. She's my sniper, guys.
5+ to save. He's okay. Vince changes his order in engage and moves at the breach wall. Then shoots a frag grenade on the sister superior. 4 shots at 4+. Rerolling 1 thanks to Cult Ambush. Thanks to little 5+, that's 3 crits.
3+ to save. No, I couldn't save her, but I expected. She would have died anyway.
Now, thanks to Blast, I can hit the Condemnor too. 4 more shots at 4+. Rerolling 1 once again thanks to Cult Ambush. Nope, 1 normal hit and 1 critical.
The Condemnor saves at 4+. Only 1 die saved, too bad. The Superior leaves the battlefield, while the Condemnor suffers 4 wounds and remains with 3, and is injured. The Exactor charges at the Flamer, but decides not to fight. If Andrea wants to give me a victory point, he can attack her. For now, I'll try to make her survive.
Well, since the room is now almost in my control, Nick activates the charge on the wall near him and does again his action, Signal the Strike.
The Reliquarius charges the Flamer, reaching the sisters. Once in combat, she fights with the Xeno, making 3 attacks at 2+, thanks to the support of her companions. 1 critical attack and 2 normal attacks.
Okay, Alan responds with 3 attacks at 4+. Same roll as Simone. 1 crit and 1 normal hit.
The Reliquarius deals damage with a normal attack.
Alan parries the critical hit.
And with the last dice, the sister defends against the enemy's attack.
Only 2 wounds suffered. I'm perfectly fine with that. Manny uses movement and dash to reach the console inside the room in front of him.
The Dialogus moves near the Hololith and takes the mission action, completing possible actions on this point of interest.
Wilson moves towards the door on his right and opens it. Stuart instead uses movement and dash and hides behind the console.
The Hospitaller finds herself in a very awkward position, so she opens the door and enters the room, positioning herself near the center of the kill zone.
Brick changes his order, dashes inside the room, and goes on guard waiting for someone to show up.
The Pronatus is equipped with the Chaplet Ecclesiasticus. When she activates, I can roll a dice, and if I roll 6, she gets an additional APL. 6! Perfect! Now she has 3 actions available. First, Terry does the action Raise Relic to gain 3 fate points. She then opens the door and moves into the other room, reaching the console.
Butch moves and goes to hide at the corner of the room where Brick was earlier.
The Duelist follows the Pronatus into the other room, and also positions herself next to the console, and within 3 inches of the center of the kill zone.
Karn sees the Duelist enter the room, so he changes his order and charges her. Then he uses his ability Familiar Soulsight on her to gain the weapon rules Balanced and Brutal. With his third action, Karl fights a duelist making 4 attacks at 2+. Rerolling the 1, with lethal 4+, that's 3 crits and a normal hit.
4 attacks at 2+ for the duelist. 4 normal attacks, not much.
Karl starts the fight dealing damage with his first crit and blocking one of the duelist attacks thanks to the rule stun.
She can't survive the fight, so the duelist deals damage with her attack.
And Karl eliminates the enemy.
The duelist was also eliminated. I don't have many sisters left.
Thanks to this elimination, I can reveal the Taco, Probe and Ransack. And then, I spend 1 common point for the tactical ploy Slink into Darkness, and change the Sanctus Order in Conceal. Oh, I almost forgot. Here are your wounds, Karl. Since Simone has already finished to activate his operatives, I can activate my Flamer. Alan changes his order in Conceal and disengages from combat, waiting for the next turn.
At the end of the second round, I have just a few models, but they are all in the upper sector, the one I need. I'll have to hope to gain the initiative next turn and eliminate the Flamer immediately. Then I can try to win thanks to the victory points from the consoles. It won't be easy, but it's doable.
Wow, my team is on fire today! I did take control of the consoles in the bottom part of the battlefield, but Simone has already done both the actions there, so I have almost the entire team in a useless room. If Simone wins the initiative of the next turn, it will be a problem.
Rolling for initiative. Bad start of the turn. Really bad.
3. Great! In the strategic phase, I spend 2 common points for the strategic ploys, crossfire, and writing ingress. I select the barrier on the bottom part of the battlefield. Until the end of the battle, my operatives can move through that obstacle as if he wasn't there. And now, the most important part of the turn. Alan activates, changes his order, and shoots the 3 sisters that charged him earlier, thanks to the rule torrent. Starting with the Reliquarius, 5 shots at 2+. All hit.
4+ save for the Reliquarius. Only 1 die saved.
Now the Exactor, 5 more shots at 2+. Rerolling 1 thanks to Cult Ambush. All hit! Nice!
For the Exactor, I don't even need to roll the dice, she can't survive.
And the Pronatus now. Rerolling 1. With lethal 5+, that's 3 crits and 2 normal hits. He's quite angry it seems.
4+ also for the Pronatus. 1 critical and 1 normal saved. I used to fight points to turn a failed dice into saved, defending all 3. The Reliquarius and the Exactor have been eliminated and leave the kill zone, while the Pronatus remains with 3 wounds but still alive. I gain a victory point for the death of one of my models near this console.
With his second action, Alan charges the Pronatus.
The Pronatus tries to get an additional APL at 6. Nope, nothing this time. The sister moves to the other console, then carries out the mission action for free thanks to her ability. She finally shoots the only enemy she can target, 4 shots at 3+. 1 critical hit and 2 normal hits.
Saving with 3 dice at 5+. Only 1 dice saved. That's enough to keep Stuart alive. Wilson changes his order and engage, and then charges both the sisters inside the room. Then fights with the Condemnor making 3 attacks at 4+. Double crit and normal hit. What a roll!
The Condemnor is out of the game, and with her gone, the game ends as well, since I have no other chance to win. The victory belongs to the Genestealer cult.
What an amazing performance by the Genestealers! The Flamer is definitely winning the MVP for the 25 wounds dealt. Without him, the game would have been definitely much harder to win. Also, the small strategical mistakes that Simone made enabled me to take control of the battlefield.
I think I lost this match exactly when the Penitent failed the fight against the Flamer. It was too much of a blow to take, and one that I carry with me throughout the rest of the game. I made a couple of positioning mistakes as well, which I could have avoided. A lesson to learn for the next match. Before finishing, we would like to take a moment to thank our members who have decided to support us on Patreon. And if you guys want to support the channel and enjoy an additional and exclusive battle report per month, or see your models showcased in our videos, the Patreon link is in the description. We are waiting for you on Discord.
And if you have come this far, write the word burning in the comments to let us know. You are the best. And if you are not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, leave a like and write us in the comments. We are always curious to know what you think.
That's it, guys!
See you next video!